before you go home. I know you. I'm Roy Blitzer, and our show is Ask Dr. Business. The purpose of our time together is to provide information and insight that would help make your work life more effective and more productive. The desired outcome is you're going to take this advice, and your life at work will be happy and successful. We're starting a new series this evening. It's called Jobs from Home, and we're very fortunate to have a fine young gentleman here named Jose Arenas, who's going to talk about his life as a worker in his home. He is a freelance illustrator. Before I get him chatting, I want to remind you to please call in. The phone number here is 650-856-1491. Welcome.
Thank you.
I'd like you to please begin by telling our audience a little bit about your background. Where did you study? What you did when you went to school? How many jobs you've had? And how you got to work from home. Go for it.
Where to begin? Always been interested in art. Went to an art-centric high school, Lincoln High in San Jose. They sort of have a pipeline that leads you into art schools. From there, I did my undergrad at the Art Institute of California, San Francisco. Got my bachelor's there. Then,
what was your first job? Did you get an art job right away?
I did not. I graduated right when the recession happened.
Oh, that's unfortunate.
Oh, it was very unfortunate. I studied in video game art and design or digital arts. No one was hiring at that time. It was like 2007, 2008. The game industry, or mostly all of digital studios just weren't hiring at the time. And if they were looking for engineers and programmers. So I spent about 6 years.
Oh, gee.
Not working in art, but just working random odd jobs.
Give us a sample. You must have a great resume.
Yeah. Well, I eventually landed in education. I became a what do you want to call it? A substitute teacher's aide, and I just started working in classes. And at first, I was a little intimidated because I'm not a big academic guy, and I thought, oh, I'm gonna have to grade papers.
Did they give you the art project?
They did eventually when they found out what I was doing. That turned out to be very fulfilling, and I did that for about 4 years, working with special ed, especially working with children that were emotionally disturbed, So did that, cut my tooth in special ed doing that for a couple years. Not a lot of art stuff going on there.
Were you doing art on the side? Were you keeping sort of current and active?
I was designing T-shirts.
Nothing clicked? Nothing big?
Nothing big.
I can't go buy one tomorrow?
No, well, now you can. At the time, though, I was putting them out on my own blog. No one was watching it. No one was looking there. Then, kind of owe it all to my wife, because I met her in special ed. She was one of the teachers. I was subbing in her class.
And she encouraged you to take your art and pursue it.
Yeah,
in
when
what
she
you-
found out, because she's a highly academic individual. I mean, loves school.
Well, they say
loves
opposites
college.
attract.
Oh yes, and I told her like I'm kind of a slacker. I love to draw, and that's about it. She goes, well, you got your bachelor's.
You did?
Well, why aren't you working? And then I came up with all these excuses. Oh, the recession, and oh, this and that. She goes, no. You're going to go back to school and you're going to get your MBA. I was like, okay. Sure.
So you did, are you studying now for your MBA?
I'm currently getting my MBA. I am at the University of Art.
Good for you.
Yes.
So tell us a little bit about your first art job and why you chose not to stay at a company with brick and mortar and you decided to work at home.
Work from home. Yeah, my first official job was working for a little video game company called iWin many years ago, but that was just a little contract job. It was in San Francisco, and I loved going up to San Francisco. It made me feel important. Then the project I was working on got the kibosh, and away I went. Now I am doing illustration for a POS company, a point of sales company. Those are the guys that when you slide your credit cards in the cash register, that kind of machine. So they do that. They send out tweets, and
you illustrate their.
I illustrate their little tweets. Yeah.
Not bad. Well, let me just solicit some phone people and we can hear a little bit about the home life that you have generated at work. The phone number here is 650-856-1491. I'm Roy Blitzer, and our show is Ask Dr. Business with a new series, Jobs from Home. And Jose Arenas is here talking about his life as a freelance illustrator at home. So how long have you been doing work at home?
About 2 years.
And the motivation behind it. Let's hear our readers, speaker, and listeners why you did this.
It just happened to work out that way. The company I work for, they hire everyone from around the country. There's no real.
There's no office.
There's no office. Well, there's one in Chicago, but everyone.
Well, that's good enough motivation.
Yeah.
You didn't have an office to go to.
Exactly. So my little man cave slowly started turning more professional. It started. I would get up in the morning and get dressed, even though I wouldn't go anywhere. But you have to get dressed so you can feel.
Well, that was one of my questions. I think that's very important. Good.
Yeah, otherwise.
You feel like you're a professional, right?
Yeah, you don't feel like you're being productive.
Did you get up at the same time every day as if you had to get somewhere?
Usually. I usually make breakfast for my wife, so I'm up very early.
That's good.
Yeah, and then just walk the dog and sit at my computer for about 4 or 5 hours and just.
Do you take a break?
I do. You have to take plenty of breaks, otherwise you will go nuts.
Well, one of the things that we didn't prep for was the concept of social needs. You seem like a very charming, outgoing guy.
Thanks.
And here you are working at home alone all day long.
Right.
I'm eager to find out what a counsel you'd give to people who have higher social needs. I don't think working at home would be good for them.
Well, that's one of the obstacles. I didn't see that when I first started working from home. I figured, I just work at home. I don't have to go anywhere. I'm kind of a shy, timid guy anyway, so I thought I would enjoy that. But quickly you realize, yes, it's very lonely. It's hard to distinguish what's work and what's housework.
Do you still have chores at home you have to do?
Yes. So that's another thing too. It's you got your chores and then you got your normal work.
And you just had a child. We can tell the audience.
Yes,
So not only that, do you have babysitting responsibilities during
I do now.
during the day now too?
Yes.
That makes it very difficult.
Luckily, our daughter was born in April, so She's still very new. My wife still has time off. So we've been switching as a team, going back and forth. The real challenge we will see will come in August when she has to go back to work.
We need to get you back on the air.
Yeah.
Talk a little bit about how you personally deal with your social needs. Do you schedule lunches? Do you have guys that you play ball with? I mean, what do you do? Or you have suppressed them all that you don't do anything?
Well, in the beginning, I couldn't, I was having a hard time coming up with time for work and coming up with time for play and chores.
But you were dressed. That's a good
I
sign.
was dressed. Well, in the beginning, I wasn't even. I was still in my PJs, and I thought, this is good. I gotta fix this. I'm not doing this right. Yeah, I started. You know, I play a lot of games with my brothers, so we play a lot of online games. There's that. I try to come up with like just hangout days, you know, as much as I can, you know, because
I have a recommendation. Did you
Yes.
think of joining a professional society, an artists co-op or something like that, where you'd meet other professionals? And,
I've looked into it. My wife has suggested it. Yes. Yeah.
and no luck yet.
No luck yet, mostly because we were planning a marriage or a wedding, and then the baby. So
Well, it sounds like you have a lot of activities. Let's get back to the concept of the time that you spend in this home office. Would you have conference calls? Do people know you're working from home? Let's say someone wants to call you and hire you to be a freelance illustrator. Does it seem like it's a home number? Does anyone answer?
if you ask any of my friends, they'll tell you I'm impossible to hang out with because I'm constantly doing work.
Well, that's good.
Yeah.
We do have a phone call for us.
Alrighty.
Is this Joe Green on the end? Hello, this is Dr. Business. Joe, are you there? I cannot hear you. There may be, as they say in the 50s, a technical difficulty. He's not there. Okay. Some reason we got a little excited. We thought there was a caller, but this is live TV.
Sure. Spice of
Jose's
life.
Spice of life. Let me first remind everybody that there could be a live caller. The phone number here is 650-856-1491. We're here being charmed by Jose Arenas, who's talking about his life as a freelance illustrator working at home. You did mention 4 or 5 hours. I'm afraid to ask, can you get everything done in 4 or 5 hours? What about the Silicon Valley sort of nomenclature that these people are working 80 hours a week?
It feels like that. 4 to 5 hours for work, that's not counting my homework.
Ah, that you're a student as well.
I'm a student as well. So my day ends up looking more like 12 hours. And I guess that's the other drag about working from home. There's no clock in, clock out. You sort of have to set that up yourself. And if you don't, you can, in my
Burn
case,
out very quickly.
Oh, very quickly. You start working in the morning around 8, and I wasn't done till nearly 11 at night.
We do now have a caller. Mr. Green? Hello?
Hello.
Yes, this is Dr. Business. How can I help you?
Good evening, Dr. Business. This is Joe Green.
Thank you,
I'm
Joe.
very interested in getting your guest's opinion about how he can separate his work life from his personal life while he's working at home.
I like that. I'm glad you asked that, and I'm going to reiterate. How do you separate your work life from your personal life at home?
A planner.
You have a planner.
You have to have a planner. I use my Google Calendar to remind me. I'm not, if there's nothing there to tell me to stop working, I would just keep going until I'm just out of energy.
So you have a planner. Do you do a to-do list? Joe, I'll ask him if more specific. Do you do a to-do list every morning?
Absolutely. I live by it. I live by the to-do list.
But would there be something every Tuesday? I mean, how much structure do you have to this?
I guess not a lot. I have a group I go to on Tuesday. That's about the only time I leave the house. Yeah, no, it's pretty much the same. Get up, walk the dog, go to work, take breaks throughout the day.
Well, let me elaborate Joe's question. Let's say you need something done at home. You have to go to the drugstore to get this little one new medication.
I see.
What would you do if you're in the middle of a project? What if you have a phone call due? What do you tell your public?
I tell my public,
A previous commitment, I hope.
yeah. Well, if if anyone wants to plan anything with me, I tell them, give me a couple weeks in advance because I have plenty of homework, I have plenty of work to do. I will hang out with you, I will talk to you, but put it in the calendar. If it's not in the calendar, we are not talking. I've also set up a shopping day, so since
So you have a little.
so since Tuesday is my group day, I go afterward to do the shopping. My thing is, shopping just, that whole day just takes it out of me. By the time I come home, I'm not really in the mood to look at my computer anymore. So,
Dr. Business, are you still there?
I am. Can you hear Joe? Can you hear the answers, Joe?
Yes, I can, but let me, not quite getting the answer to my question. For example, if you're working at home and your wife is there, and I don't know if you have a child.
He
but,
does?
and they're seeking your attention while you're trying to do some work, how do you politely say, I'm sorry, I'm working, can you come back later? You know what I mean, that sort of thing.
And that's something that a planner cannot help you with. I like that.
he's all right, politely, politely saying. Luckily, my wife, when she sees me sitting at the desk, she gives me plenty of space. So I barely ever have to ask. And even then, I guess another benefit from working from home is you got a lot of flexibility. So if she wanted to invite some friends over and she'll tell me, oh, so-and-so wants to come over and hang out, is that okay? Yeah, that's fine. If they don't mind chatting to me while I'm sitting at my computer. I mean, I'm doing art. I can have a conversation and look at my computer screen at once.
I will
Well,
elaborate.
that's very interesting, Dr. Business. Thank you very much.
I
I'm
appreciate-
really interested in your guest's how he balances his profession and his home life working at home. Thank you very much.
Thank you, and I appreciate your calling. I will build on that a little. It sounds like you don't separate them that much, and I'm concerned from the state of the situation of a vendor. Someone calls you. Does your phone have a hold button? What if your baby is screaming and your wife? I guess I'm concerned that because there may not be a delineation,
Right.
that they're going to think of you as sort of
Yeah.
not unprofessional, but
Sure.
uncommitted or unprepared for their work.
I could see that.
But that's not happened.
Hasn't been a problem. Then again, I haven't. We just had the kid, so
That's new.
that's new. So that could be something I will be facing in the future.
What about the phone?
Hasn't been a problem either. With my work, I don't get most of my communications with people, especially through my job, happens through emails.
Interesting.
All through emails.
Do you have no conference calls, no meetings, no?
No, usually from what I can gather from everyone else I've talked to, all that stuff happens on their end, and then I'm the last. They're like, all right, we've designed it, we've come up with the slogans, everything. Now you're gonna put it together in Photoshop and send it back to us.
Interesting.
Yeah. So
Now, should I assume that as a freelance, would you get any feedback? Would you have a performance appraisal? Would they let you know how you're doing? Are you just really out there in your home office without?
I'm totally out in the darkness. Every once in a while, someone will send an email like, "Oh, that looks good," But I constantly tell them like, "Here's the work. Please let me know if you have any notes. I can change it. Whatever you guys need." But so far, not a lot of complaints.
It occurs to me after this discussion in our prep that there are several requirements that you need to work at home successfully. One of them seems to be a great source of independence
Yes.
and not having high social needs. I
Yes.
don't think. And if you do, we still don't know what you do.
Well, it's funny you bring that up. I was just reading an article last week talking about there are a lot of pitfalls with working at home, and a lot of them is emotional. A lot of people feel they can't, and I certainly felt this. The lines between your social life, your work, your chores, whatever, they get real blurred. It's kind of hard to.
Well, that was Joe Green's question, actually.
Yeah.
Exactly. It
So-
does get blurred.
And another thing that I definitely felt is the pressure to feel more productive. You know, you're working at home. There's already sort of a stigma about it, like, oh, you're just in your underwear, you know, at your computer. It's like, no, I'm dressed. But there's definitely that need to look more productive. Definitely when my wife comes home and she's drained from her day, and she asks me what I've been up to. I've been sitting at my computer all day, but I get a little anxiety because I want to tell her, like, oh, my day, let me tell you about it, you know, but there's none of that.
So you need to be flexible.
Mm-hmm.
You need to be independent. I also think you need to be very resourceful.
You do.
It strikes to me that you don't get much guidance. You don't have any chance to get any feedback.
No.
You're just out there.
It's a weird thing, especially for someone like me who's used to getting up, you know, get up at 7 so I can be at
Well,
work
you
by
were
8.
a teacher. That
Yeah, and I like that. I liked going to work. I'll be honest, when I first started working from home, that was kind of bugging me a little bit. I didn't like not having less structure in my life.
I'm afraid to ask this, would you go back to a real-time job? Is it the kind of situation that once you've been to Paris, you don't want to go back?
Anytime.
Really?
Yes, I tell my wife all the time, like, oh, once this kid's older and I graduate, I would love a 9-to-5 job.
Interesting.
I would love it.
Well, let's see if we can get you another question or two after Mr. Green's. The number here is 650-856-1491. I'm here with Jose Arenas, and we're talking about working from home. Our new series is Jobs from Home, and we're getting some insight about the delineation between what it's like and what people think it's like. Now, for example, do you think that the professional world sees you differently? If you say that you work at home, do you get that look as if something's not 100% right?
Usually,
When you have, I don't know if your business card says freelance, but that indicates that you're sort of in your own business almost.
yes, and I definitely am my own business. Usually the reaction I get from people is like, nice. Oh, that's fantastic. And I tell them, yes, it is nice. But like I've been saying here tonight, there are just, you just have to be prepared for it. You know, if you want to work from home, yeah, just know that it's not as fulfilling and free feeling as you would think.
Well, just something else occurred to me, the whole concept of services. You don't have a tech guy. You have no one that cleans your office or does your windows. You have no one to order food. It's quite a, what I would call multitasking kind of situation, because you not only have to do your work, you have to do everything else. Well, what if someone wants to come to your office to visit you? What do you do?
Right. Well, what do? I see if I have space for them. Usually my brother wants to hang out, and I tell him, well, let me see how much work I got done. Let me look at my deadlines.
But there's no chance that a client will call or your boss or.
I technically don't have a boss, which is another weird thing about what I do. Again, I'm used to being yelled at, having someone give me orders, and you know, definitely when you work from home, you need to be self-reliant and be able to give yourself tasks and stay on them.
Well, one of the things we didn't talk about, which just occurred to me, do you think there are certain. We have another phone call that'll interrupt. Sammy, this is Dr. Business. How can I help you?
Hello, Dr. Biz.
Yes, please fire away your question, Sammy.
Yeah. My question is for the guy with the beard.
Well, we
my
both have
question is,
beards, but I think.
how do you get things done at home when you're surrounded by so many fun stuff like TV?
Actually, yeah, no, that's a great
I like
question.
that question.
No, it's fantastic.
Do you get distracted easily?
Yes, you get distracted. I get distracted so easy. It's another one of the pitfalls. Again, why it's important that I started dressing. It's important. Right now, I'm actually I'm saving up for another computer because having one computer that acts as your entertainment and your work is awful.
That's a very good suggestion.
Yeah, it's like driving the company car constantly. So yes, there's a lot of distractions at home. You just have to get through it.
Well, that's another quality. You have to be very disciplined.
Yes.
And if you're not disciplined and you're a little sort of multitasky, flaky, that's not going to work, I don't think.
Yeah, and that's that's another one of those little anxiety things where you think like, oh, I don't want to get distracted today, so I'm going to like just put all the fun stuff in another room or keep it out of sight.
By the way, that's a very good suggestion. To take it out of sight, we could generate a do not disturb sign for you.
Mm-hmm. Well, like I said, my man cave turned into my little professional area because I couldn't keep the things that would entertain me around my desk anymore. I had to
Well, that's good.
had to put them away, otherwise I was sitting there playing with them. Or
Well, when we talked about, you mentioned very healthy breaks. Would you do something like that during a break?
Absolutely. Because that's another thing too. You need to know you can't just constantly work and then your break you're gonna do something that isn't fulfilling to you. So take a little break. Go on a walk, play a little game, read your book. I'd watch snippets of a movie, so on and so forth like that. Yeah, otherwise you burn out.
Well, the question I was looking to, whether you think it's age dependent. Do you think that maybe you were doing this a little too early in your career? Would it be something like in a more mid-career section that you could work at home? Because eventually it's going to be harder to get back into the workforce.
True.
The more you are out and the more senior you are,
That's
the
true.
more difficult. What do you think? Is it age dependent?
It's really hard because a lot of people between my age and like 60 are working from home.
Oh, no, I was going to have the statistics, but I left it on the... There are a lot of people that work from home.
Yeah, it's not a hard thing to do. It's very common. I even take my classes online. Like I'm just all online.
We need to get you out, Jose.
I technically don't even need a home. I can work out of my car. I just need a Wi-Fi connection. That's all.
Well, it sounds funny, but the reality is you're missing the dynamic of what can be fun from work.
It's true. My wife worries. She tells me, "Oh, I hope today, maybe with the baby, you can meet. You can go to some dad groups, make some friends."
Well, tell your wife we're on the same wavelength. By the way, we only have a few seconds left. I want to thank everybody for watching the show. Just like the academic year, Dr. Business is going to take some summertime off. We're going to be back on September 21st. The topic will continue jobs from home. Think of good questions. Enjoy your summer. And I will thank Jose for his delightful participation.
Thanks for having me.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Freelance illustrator Jose Arenas. Perhaps someday he'll be able to help you. Good evening and thanks so much.